This is my laptop, ASUS VivoBook Go 15. I bought it with one dream in my mind, Linux. What I got instead? 4 months of pain.
Flashback.
Yo, this is so cool. I'm installing Linux on my machine right now. Ubuntu just dropped a new update. Alright, installing Ubuntu. Let's go. Bro, I'm so happy seeing Linux again after this long. Everything's clean, smooth. I love the way Ubuntu customizes its quick settings. Wait, why is my Wi-Fi not showing up? I can't connect to the internet and the Bluetooth's not working either. What is going on with this thing? So I start searching and eventually I find it. My laptop shipped with MediaTek MT7902 Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card, which at that time of me buying this laptop had absolutely zero Linux driver support. I am such an idiot. I am a tech guy and I did not once check the Wi-Fi chipset before buying a laptop specifically to run Linux on. And here's the thing that actually makes it worse. Nobody talks about this in reviews. Every review I read was obsessing over the CPU benchmarks, the display, the build quality. Nobody ever said, hey, by the way, check what Wi-Fi chip is inside before you buy. So I didn't. Biggest rookie mistake of my life. So now what? Switch back to Windows with all the bloat, the telemetry, the AI stuff shoved into everything now? No, absolutely not. There has to be a fix. More research, and I find a Reddit thread. Some guy with the exact same problem says he swapped his Wi-Fi card for an Intel one and it worked perfectly. That's it. That's my solution. I take my laptop to a repair shop. The guy opens it up, looks at the board, looks at me and says, "Bro, this card is soldered. I can't swap it. Is there anything left that could possibly go wrong today?" But he tells me there is another option, a USB Wi-Fi and Bluetooth dongle. So I go home, research it properly this time, and yes, it exists and it works. But there's a catch. It gets warm way too fast and connection is unstable, not something I want to rely on daily. So I land on what feels like the smartest option for now, USB tethering through my phone for internet and wired earphones instead of Bluetooth. No money spent, stable enough, and honestly, for the love of Linux, I was willing to make this sacrifice. For a few days at home, it actually worked fine. But the second I needed to step outside, there was just no way to make this work. Tethering kills your laptop's battery, and carrying cables everywhere is not a life. I needed my laptop for actual real things. Studying, work. I couldn't keep living inside an experiment. So I switched back to Windows. I used Windows for a few weeks after that, but there was this tiny, stubborn hope sitting somewhere in the back of my head that just wouldn't leave. So every now and then I should just check, search MediaTek 7902 Linux fix, see if anything changed. And one day something had. An article. MediaTek had submitted 11 patches to mainline Linux covering my exact chipset, the MT7902. I cannot explain how happy that made me. Official driver support was actually coming, but here's the thing, it was still early. No timeline, no guarantee it would make it into the kernel, just patches sitting in a mailing list somewhere waiting. A few weeks later, someone on GitHub built an experimental fix. Unofficial, unstable, no promises. It's May now, 2 months on Windows, and I am still checking, still hoping. And then a developer releases a full automation script, not experimental anymore, fully working. This was my moment. I play it safe, dual boot, keep Windows around just in case, and I run it. It works. Wi-Fi works, Bluetooth works, but only on Ubuntu, since that's all the fix supported at that time. And one annoying bug, running Wi-Fi and Bluetooth together made the Wi-Fi unstable. Not perfect, but after everything, it was something. Back to Windows. That's retreat number 2, if you are keeping count. At this moment, I am starting to feel less like a Linux user and more like a guy with very complicated X he keeps going back to. Time skip, the automation script keeps getting updated. What goes around that? It's actually stable now. I go back in, install it, run the script. Wi-Fi works, Bluetooth works, but internet speed is still inconsistent. Some days full speed, some days it feels like 2009 broadband. Still not the dream. So I am using this fix daily now, making peace with the instability. Telling myself, it's fine, it's fine. And then one day I open the same GitHub repo, the one with the automation fix, just checking for updates like I always do. And the developer had posted a notice. He mentioned that kernel 7.1 is going to ship with native MT7902 support. No fixes, no script, no workarounds, just built in. I read it twice, then a third time. After everything, 4 months of soldered cards and phone tethering and compiler errors, I didn't know this fix was coming officially in the actual kernel. That's my moment. I can't tell you how much happy I was at that moment. But let me take you back to June 14th for a second. That's the day Linus Torvalds released Linux kernel 7.1 to the world. Mainline officially merged. The MT7902 driver wasn't a patch anymore, wasn't an experiment, wasn't someone's weekend GitHub project. It was just part of the kernel now, the way it should have been from day one. But here's what nobody tells you about kernel releases. Mainline isn't the same as stable. Once Linus releases mainline, it still needs weeks of testing before distros actually package it and ship it to users, usually 2, sometimes 3 weeks depending on the distro. So technically, MT7902 support existed in the kernel now. Practically nobody's daily driver had it yet. It all came down to one question now. Which distro was going to get me kernel 7.1 the fastest? Should be simple, right? Wrong. Because now I have to choose from an entire multiverse of Linux distros. There are a bunch of them. Some are incredibly practical. Some are, let's just say, interesting. But hey, it's still better than the Aston Hall multiverse. At least these clones have a purpose. For rolling release options, the real contenders are Arch, NixOS, openSUSE Tumbleweed and Fedora. I'm not going with Arch because for a beginner like me, Arch would be less stable. The base packages are completely safe, I know that, but the AUR controversy still sits in the back of my head and I am not about to babysit community packages on my daily driver. NixOS also out. The package manager is genuinely powerful and I respect it a lot, but it's also a completely different philosophy of how Linux should work and I didn't have the patience to learn an entirely new system while also trying to fix my Wi-Fi situation. Maybe someday, not today. So it's between Tumbleweed and Fedora. Now Tumbleweed is the genuinely rolling one. Updates come fast. They are open QA tested before release. So it's not reckless, fast and tested. Fedora is a 6-month release cycle officially. But for kernels and core packages, it behaves a lot like a rolling release, shipping recent kernel versions quickly even between major releases. Both solid options. But Fedora's reputation in the community is just on a different level. Backed by Red Hat, known for being polished, stable and just working out of the box. And here's the detail that actually sealed it for me. Linus Torvalds himself, the guy who literally created the Linux, has long used Fedora as his daily driver. If it's good enough for the guy who built the kernel, it's good enough for me. Fedora it is. Now I am on Fedora, but Fedora hasn't packaged kernel 7.1 as stable yet. It's still in that 2 to 3 week testing. So do I go back to that unofficial fix? Absolutely not. I have had enough unofficial fixes. I look into compiling 7.1 myself, but then I find out Fedora already solved this problem for me. There's an official COPR repository, kernel-vanilla, that ships the latest mainline kernel bits directly. No compiling, no suffering. Just add the repo, update the system and done. I added the repo, run the update and just like that, kernel 7.1 MediaTek 7902 support fully working, 0 patches, 0 scripts, 0 suffering, 4 months of pain, and it all ended with one update command. So where am I now? Fedora Linux, vanilla kernel 7.1 via COPR, running on this exact laptop that refused to cooperate for 4 months straight. And honestly, it's been working like a charm. No errors, no random disconnects, no checking the Wi-Fi icon every 5 minutes like it owes me something. I do my studies on this machine, I play Minecraft on it, I make my content on it. This video you are watching right now made entirely on this setup. Was all that struggle worth it? Big yes. Because now I am actually free, no bloat, no telemetry running in the background, no AI features I never asked for, no paid subscription baked into my OS, just clean, fast, rised out Linux setup that does exactly what I want it to do. This was always the dream. I just had to fight for it a little harder than expected. Okay, a lot harder than expected. But here's the thing, getting Linux running was only half the battle. battle, setting up my actual content creation workflow, KDN Live, OBS, getting everything to work together without breaking each other. That was its own completely separate nightmare. If you want to hear that story, hit subscribe because that video is coming next week. And if you made it this far, thank you genuinely for watching. Drop a comment below. I want to know your worst Linux moment, because after 4 months of this, I think we have earned the right to compare war stories. See you in the next one.